I've got OGs on my channel, but for those of you who are new to my channel, my favourite TV show of all time is MonsterQuest. It's a documentary that teaches you about cryptids and whether they're real or not. And if you're unfamiliar of what cryptids are, they're basically animals that people have seen in the past but don't have hard evidence to prove that they exist. The show was created in the USA, was released on History Channel in the year of 2007, and I remember being obsessed with the Loch Ness Monster when my grandparents got me into it, and I started looking. This was back in the day when YouTube was fairly new, and I was starting to get into it. So I started looking up Loch Ness Monster on YouTube, and that's how I found the Monster Quest and a few other episodes. And then that's when, I wasn't really that, I was interested, but not as interested as I was a few years earlier. I remember being absolutely terrified over the Chupacabra episode, and when the year 2018 came around, May 2018 to be exact, I watched the episode again and, overcame my fear of it. And as a result, I started getting more and more into Monster Quest, and it became my number one show as a result of it. Even though for the most part Monster Quest is technically underrated, it surprisingly was very popular on the History Channel and just in general. It got 4 seasons from 2007 to 2010, got its own video game and a few merchandise. It was even featured on a single episode of South Park at one point. But ever since 2010, Monster Quest hasn't been posting anything lately. But all of that was about to change, as in the year 2025, December 2025, we got the first trailer of Season 5 for Monster Quest. And as a real die-hard fan of the show, the fact that my favourite show of all time is coming back after 4 seasons, let alone 16 years apart, I was naturally hyped up to see it. So I decided to give the trailer a watch, and my honest thoughts on it. Yeah, I am very disappointed with this trailer, but I'm still going to give the show a watch, despite it slapping me in the face with something as horrific as this. And the fact that it's my number one favourite show of all time just hurts me the most. You'd think for a show as popular as it is that they would at least give some respect for it, but it doesn't seem like that to me. And this is why I think it's about time I talk about Monster Quest. I've been thinking of talking about the show for ages now, but ever since this 5th season came out, I think it's about time I talk about it. So let's dive into Monster Quest 2026. The first thing I noticed straight away compared to the 2007 version and the 2026 one was the different style between the two. The 2007 version had a very unique style to it that was very outstanding, and you can deter it from certain cryptid documentaries, it was very recognisable, whilst the 2026 version just had a dead typical style to it. I feel like I have seen it somewhere before. It reminds me a lot of things like Skinwalker Ranch and These Woods Are Haunted. If you've seen them documentaries, they have a very similar style to them. Personally, I did not like the path that the new season was going for, because it just makes it look boring. And to add insult to injury, most of the episodes had certain cryptids like the Beast of Bray Road and the Mothman, something that the original series has already covered before. So yeah, that's a bit devastating. The second thing that I can't avoid talking about is the use of AI in this 5th season. The original show came out all the way back in 2007, and it very clearly had CGI animation because, AI wasn't really popular at the time. We never had the technology for it, but nowadays it's become very easy for people to use AI, especially online creators and artists. And as a big fan of Monster Quest, hearing about the 5th season coming out was very exciting. But seeing that it was all AI, I thought it was a joke at the time, but realizing that it was on the History Channel, the actual official History Channel, just blew me away. I mean, I was at a loss for words. Now, obviously, not everything about this fifth season was AI generated. Some of the scenes, like the live action ones, like it had a lot of, it had quite a few live action scenes for the eyewitnesses, but that still does not excuse this fifth season, this professional TV series, to use AI in place of CG. Because this is, they're not really trying at this point. It's just being lazy. Now, I personally don't really get offended by AI as much as most people do, but self-aware AI can be good for certain things, like creating a shit post or making like a little a parody of something. But when you're using it to create like, actual images for like professional, if you want to be like professional at creating something, it doesn't really work most of the time, and it's not what most people, including myself, are really even though most people do get offended by it, like mainly artists. It's like I can understand the reasoning why people don't like it, because it gets rid of actual artistic talent and exchanging it for like computers that can't, for the most part, don't really get the art right. I remembered that Monster Quest, the original series, used to have like a very unique way of presenting the eyewitnesses and the scientists. I've also watched a few other cryptid documentaries that have also done similar things, but in their own way. And I did mention that there was These Woods Are Haunted and Terror in the Woods. They've got two names, by the way. They also did a similar thing with theirs. And in this new season of Monster Quest, I couldn't help but notice that the way they presented the eyewitnesses was very similar to These Woods Are Haunted. So here's a clip from These Woods Are Haunted that you're looking at right now, and this is one from the fifth season of Monster Quest. They look eerily similar. They didn't even try to keep the original style of the show, but instead just put it in like this very typical way of doing it, as they've done with many other cryptid documentaries. It's just like, oh yeah, this friggin' modern audience will love this type of bollocks. But yeah, I'm not too pleased with this. The fifth season was just a massive downer, and I'm just happy that I'm not the only one who thinks that. There have been many other people who think the same way and have pointed out its flaws. So yeah, the fifth season wasn't good in most people's eyes, but even though it was shit, we still have the other seasons from 2007 all the way up to 2010. And it doesn't change the fact that Monster Quest is still my favorite show, and I try not to get the have the bad things get in the way of the good things. So I just stick to the original series just to gain that nostalgia that I had from 2012 all the way up to 2018. Like I say all the time, 2018 is when I became a massive fan of the series and I started watching more of it. And even though I was 12 years old at the time, I know many kids back then were mostly playing Fortnite and stuff, but back then I was more interested in this show. And yeah, I started watching more and more of it, even up to where I am now. And it has become my favourite TV show of all time. So if you ignore the fifth season, I think you'll be rewarded with the other four seasons from the past, and they are the best ones in my opinion, or everyone's opinion for that matter. If they're a fan of it. But yeah, if you haven't seen Monster Quest, I do recommend checking out the show if you're interested in cryptid documentaries. That is it for this video. I am Star Invader, and I'll see you all in the next video.